Hey everyone, welcome to Group Text. So, when Dance Moms went off the air in 2019, many of us wondered when we get our next fix of the mamas and the dramas. Well, worry no more, because all episodes of Dance Moms, A New Era, are now available on Hulu. Glo Hampton is the new drill sergeant in choreographer's clothing, leading 8 youngsters towards junior elite dancing glory. With me today are two of the dance moms, Tammi Brudner and Domenica Plotczyk. Now, I've only seen 3 episodes so far, but this season is sure to have more twists than a Martha Graham routine. So let's get right into it. Domenica and Tammi, welcome to Group Text.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. I'm so excited.
Very happy that you guys are here because I was a huge Dance Moms fan. Did you guys watch the original show?
Yes, absolutely. That's why my daughter's in dance, actually.
Really?
Yeah, she was an infant when the shows were coming out, and so I had Tuesday nights was my dance mom's night where my husband would take Audrey and I would get my popcorn and sit and watch it. And so I decided because of the show, I was like, I want my daughter to dance, and it has taken us so many places. Very grateful.
What about you, Domenica? Were you a fan of the show?
So I haven't really watched too much. Smiley watches it all the time. And I kind of just hear it in the background, and then sometimes a dance comes on. I'm like, wait, I want to watch the dance. Like I really loved watching the dances, um, you know, on the show. However, I will say I did not put my kid in dance for the same reasons that other people do, um, because Smiley actually was pigeon-toed, and when I took her to an orthopedic doctor, I was like, okay, like we need to fix her legs. They're all crooked, I can't have that. And doctor was like, oh, it's not really that bad and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what? Like, I can see it. And he's like, just put her in ballet. And I ended up putting her in ballet, and one thing led to another. Then they're like, she's kind of good. I think she should join our competition team. And I was like, what is that? And then I got brought into that. And then I was at conventions, and I was like, wait, do all these people have pigeon toes? Like, how did everybody end up here?
Well, being pigeon-toed hasn't exactly hurt Taylor Swift. So I think, that's not going to stop anyone from doing anything. Did you guys have any hesitation about putting yourselves on a reality show and putting your daughters in? I mean, Junior Elite Dance is a pressure cooker enough, but suddenly there's cameras.
I wouldn't say that I had any hesitation. I think I watched a lot of the episodes already. I stayed up till 5 in the morning. So I did watch a lot of them. I didn't finish. However, I had no idea what to expect. I am not a good actress. I didn't make it onto movies. I made it onto reality TV for a reason. And really what you see is what you get. Obviously, there's only snippets of me, but I didn't have any hesitation putting Smiley in. My only concern was her stamina. I knew she would be dancing a lot more than she's used to. And at just 10 years old, I was a little bit worried. I knew that there was going to be long hours. The schooling was going to be different. So many things were just about to change. But I will say, now that I watched it, I have no regrets. Obviously, I can't wait for the world to see her. And the thing about my daughter is that she's amazing. And I'm going to try not to cry, but she's just so, not only is she gorgeous, but she's just sweet and so full of life and excitement. And I really wanted to share that with everybody and kind of just show her off. I'm like, that's mine. I did that. Like, she's awesome.
What about you, Tammi?
The question was, did I have hesitations in joining the show?
Yeah, especially because you had seen the original.
Oh, yeah. So, to be fair, if I was watching that original and put my kid on Dance Moms, put my kid in dance because of it, and then on Dance Moms, I knew what we were, signing up for. And Glo is my best friend, and she has always treated Audrey with the utmost respect and love. And so their bond, to me, that felt safe to me, and she thrived the whole time. I had a little hesitation about me personally doing it because I don't really want everybody to necessarily, well, that's a lie. I changed. I now do want everyone to know who I am, but in the beginning I didn't. So,
Well, because you're a big personality.
I am. Yeah, I learned a lot about myself. I didn't know I was that mean.
Somehow you've gotten paid for therapy. I like that business model.
Yeah, yeah.
I had no clue I was that mean. That's like when my friends say to me, "Do you realize how bitchy you are?" And I say, "Yeah, I got no problem with
Well,
it."
now I know, and I'm glad that one of the my producer Dan had told me, you're going to learn so much about yourself and have so much growth during this experience. And so when he said that to me, it really clicked for me, and I was like, I want to take advantage of this opportunity, have fun with it, like do the things, and have Audrey. She just thrived with her friends, like it could, we come so close. I could go on and on about how like grateful I am that this has brought me and Audrey so close, and I'm
But
very
okay,
grateful.
you just brought up though that you've known Glow forever.
Yes.
Did you were you concerned, because I know I would be this way with my friends, of how they were going to be portrayed, especially after the elevated emotional responses by the original one. Why am I blanking on her name? Abby. Abby Lee Miller. I mean, you had to say, if you're this close, you had to say, hey, they might paint you in, into being Abby Lee light.
About Glow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really didn't think that was gonna happen, because when we were filming, she was not, yelling all the time. She was not saying things that were very negative, of body image, anything like that. She gave criticisms and she was stern, but they weren't anything that she hasn't been telling my daughter since she was 4 or 5 years old. It's the same teaching. I think she was true to herself. And yes, it got a little escalated because of tensions and the cameras, like all that stuff going on. And but I feel very safe with her, and I think that watching her throughout it, she handled it very respectfully, very nurturing to the children.
All I know is that damn triangle gives me, or the pyramid gives me so much anxiety. Domenica, you say that you're not like the other moms, and you do seem to sort of um, duck and cover a lot. You know, were you always that way in group dance situations? Where, I mean, I'm a sports mom, so I understand like the group dynamics.
Right.
Were you always planning on ducking and covering, or has there been a moment when you like went, oh shit, and tap out? I'm not being a part of this situation.
I got tough skin, and I'm teaching my daughter to have tough skin. You want to put yourself in tough situations, then this is what's going to happen. You can't just give up. Like when things get tough, you got to see it through. Um, it gets tougher as the season, she is, everybody calls her like the weakest link, and I have a really hard time with that. But even through it all, I just stand up for her and I stand up for us, and I know she can get there. Something about Smiley is that she is the second youngest on the team, yet the tallest. So sometimes
Lucky
adults can.
girl.
I
Lucky girl.
I
I'm just going to
agree.
leave it at that, says someone who I like to refer to myself as vertically challenged.
Yeah, no, she is vertically unchallenged because it just keeps going and going, and we just everybody every time they see her, they're like, "Did you grow again?" My husband is 6'4".
Uh huh.
But sometimes with that height, when it comes to groups and formations, you stand out, right? You think that the shorter ones are younger and that the taller ones are older, and so she has a really hard time with that, and I have a hard time with that. Like, don't come at my little baby like she's a little baby. She's bringing your age group down. Come on, cut me some slack. But when it comes to like, I wouldn't say that I duck and cover. I think that like the first few episodes, it kind of like seems that way because I'm kind of like cruising and I'm kind of like checking out, the scenery. And we all know each other, but we didn't know each other the way that we got to know each other. And so as time went on, I, mean, and Tammi can attest to this, um, it was tough for them to try to fuck with us. It is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they were like, we're just not going to win here, you know?
Well, and you both are in such different places with your daughters and where they are in your lives. Like Domenica, I would think there's times you would want to turn around and say, get her in the car and turn around and say, fuck them. You're great. Don't listen to them. And then conversely for you, Tammi, you have to get in the car, I would think, because your daughter has been on Broadway and in Music Man and truly is already having a professional career. And you then have to get in the car and say, hey, you're the leader. Take the slings and arrows. And, suck it up, Buttercup. That's got to be a very, especially because you two are friends, that's a very different experience.
Yeah, and what you just said, that's exactly what I would say to Audrey in the car is like, look, you've got to, toughen up, help the younger kids, like everything. And she did as the season went on. I mean, the bond they have now. But Domenica has a good reasoning of our amazing friendship besides we're amazing. Go ahead, Domenica. Wait, how you
Wait, what do
say
you mean?
you don't make friends with moms in the same age category.
Oh, yeah. So one of the things was, okay, I was like, Tammi, where are we going with this? I'm like, I can't read you through the screen. I can usually read you like in person. So a wise dance mom once told me, you can't really make good friends with a mom who has a kid in the same category as your own kid. And the thing about Tammi and I, we clicked, we became friends, we like go out for drinks, we go hang out, I go to her house, she comes to my house, she helps me paint, I help her with her projects that she can never finish. But, there's never, ever competition there. My kid is never going to be against Audrey, right? And so that is just put aside. I've had so many moms that I've been friends with, and then it's like, it's hard, even when I love them and
it's hard.
I've had that healthy jealousy, right? Where you're like, man, what I could do if my kid was that good. You know what I mean? Like the things I would do because I'm that mom that drives to New York, drives to Connecticut, drives to wherever I have to go. If I got to fly to Australia, I'll fly to Australia, and I told my husband this, like, even before we had kids. I was like, I am crazy. And when I say crazy is I'm spontaneous. I love adventure. I've changed my career like 4 or 5 times. I went to school for economics, owned restaurants, worked at a law firm, became like an office manager. And now I'm doing brows. Like, I'm just constantly challenging myself and like trying.
Wow, that's a pivot. Office manager at a law firm to brow technician. Just saying, that's an interesting pivot.
Brow artist.
Brow artist. My bad.
You should see how she does this. It is literally an art. It's absurd. It's so entertaining.
Yeah, that's 2 different paths. Just
Yeah.
as an outsider saying that.
Yeah, no, I've literally done so many things, and now I'm reality TV.
Why not?
I'm constantly looking at the universe like, throw it. I got it. Tell me what's next, and I'm there. But yeah, so going back to the whole thing with Tammi, we never, ever, ever have any animosity between our children. And I'm sure many parents can relate to that. Sometimes you have a parent you get along with, but deep inside you're like, ugh, her kid's so much better, or his kid's so much better, or the opposite. You're like, my kid is so much better than that kid. And like, those are just not, I don't want to say that they're not healthy thoughts, but they don't let the friendship develop fully. I guess would be my only way to explain that.
Yeah. Tammi, you have been in this world longer than any of the other moms.
Right. Yeah.
And you have more experience in the, as I call it, the real world of dance. In this,
me as a dancer?
No, as a mom. In the sense of your daughter's been on Broadway. You get the next level and what's ahead of these girls. Do you look at any of these moms and go, honey, you are not cut out for this shit?
I would say they're all probably cut out for the pushing the kids and the making them famous and all of that. But one thing that's different between the way my thought processes work and theirs is because Audrey was on Broadway. So now when I look at it, going to a dance competition, of course she still tries her best. Like, she's a performer, she's competitive. But a trophy, it's like, we don't need a plastic trophy to tell us what we're worth. And so, yeah, did I answer that question?
Yeah, because I would be sitting in the back of the room and go, amateurs. You don't know, you know what I mean?
Pretty much.
Y'all can fight all you want. You don't know what's ahead of you.
Yeah.
You know.
But I still jumped in there and fought, so.
How did you and Glow meet?
So Glow teaches at Studio Blue, and Audrey, when she was on stage doing her first solo, Glow and the ballet teacher saw her, and they were like, we want her. And so then Glow approached me and asked if she could work with Audrey, and I was like starstruck, literally, because she's like, everyone's like wants her as a choreographer and like all this stuff, and I was like, oh my god, yes, like Kaylee's her daughter, like they're famous, like all this stuff. I was like literally like wanted an autograph, but I didn't. So then I taught acro at the dance studio for 3 years, and so
Wait. Pumping the brakes here.
Sorry.
You taught. Are you an ex-gym? I mean, you taught acro?
Yeah, I did floor tumbling and cheerleading. So I taught like floor tumbling and acrobatics, stretching, like different contortion type things. I did that. And then, so I would bring her, if I thought a kid was really good, I would bring him over to her room and be like, watch her solo real quick. And then Glow, Glow snapped up all the ones on her own, but one kid, okay, I'll be honest, one kid I brought to her.
Good job, Tammy. You did it.
Yeah, you did it. You brought one into the fold. I know, being a sports mom, in a sport where your child is judged, but I've dealt with some bad refs. Do you ever just want to wait outside in a parking lot for one of the judges to have a private discussion?
No. I do not.
That's funny. Me
What
and the
just
rest of our
happened?
teen parents have.
I don't think I want to wait in the parking lot for the judge. I'm not sure I would do that.
Okay, let's say a personal and private conversation in an area that is not well lit.
What does that mean?
Oh my God.
Somewhere very private to express your opinions.
I would not do that with judges. They are the professionals. I respect them in their industry. I respect the teachers. I mean, I don't know how to teach dance, and I don't know how to judge dance. I think every time my kid walks on that stage, I say, that was perfect. I cry, that was perfect. And then we've got Kaylee over here being like, screenshotting me all these pictures, like, she messed this up, she messed that up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, she's perfect.
That's funny, because I once, with a bunch of the other parents, stood on a sideline and said to one referee, hey, you might want to have your buddy read the rule book. So, I've been known to have a moment myself. Just putting that out there. I want to talk to you both about the Medium episode. Glow and Min both talked about losing children, and it's very emotional stuff, especially for kids. Did you have a moment where you thought, ooh, this is a little too emotionally heavy for my child at such a young age to be talking about trying to channel through performance? And, it's some pretty scary stuff when you have a medium talking about these things. I mean, it's one thing to play with a Ouija board, but this was a lot more intense.
When the medium first came in, I really didn't believe in mediums, but I did kind of become a convert. But I don't think this, Audrey, again, is 13 now. I don't think it was too heavy for her. I actually believe that, death is not a negative thing. We can celebrate those people. Like, there was a purpose for why they are there. And I think it's very important for children to understand death and to be, learn about it and be part of a community of support with people.
Domenica, it had to be hard, though, to explain that to Smiley. I mean, that's a big emotional, heavy duty. Now, please channel this into your dance. And you just find out that the mom of one of your teammates lost a child. I mean, you're just like, to me, it's frightening. Now, and I'm someone who has lost both parents. And honestly, I've never gone to a medium because I don't need my parents criticizing me from the great beyond. You know what I mean? People say, do you hear your mom in your head? I'm like, way too much. Like enough
when
already.
you're getting dressed.
Yeah. Are you sure you want to wear that? I don't need to pay someone to tell me these things.
I think the difference is with Tammy, Audrey is older.
Right.
So just her being, 3, almost 4 years older than Smiley,
Right.
it was a different thing. I don't want to talk too much about the things that don't make it onto the show, but
Of course.
we see the snippet of what happens, but what we all went through was actually special because we are in a very stressful, we're with each other a lot. Like, I can't even be with my husband that long, and I married him. So to be with all these moms, when we first got casted, I'm looking around the room and I'm like, all these bitches are crazy. And then I came home and I spoke to my husband and I was like, am I one more crazy bitch in the circle, or are the rest of them the crazy ones? Right. And then now I look at myself.
Like attracts like.
Right. Now I look at myself, I'm like, nah, I belong there.
Yeah.
So
I stood on the sidelines with the noisy parents.
Yeah.
Not the quiet ones.
Yeah. I do that.
Yeah.
That is where what is the word? Gravitate towards. Yeah. But so having that first week be so stressful and getting 6th place, and it was just like so much that happened that first week, and we all have to get used to each other. This was a kind of a way where it was something that we could all just kind of come together with. And something that didn't really make it on the show was when we were all telling our stories. And Smiley got to talk about when she lost her grandfather, my husband's dad, during COVID, and we couldn't explain death. We were scared,
Right.
We're like, how do we tell this 7-year-old that her grandfather, who has come to visit her all the time, and it was so complex at the time that having that circle and having a moment and the space for her to kind of let those emotions out was actually good and positive, and everybody had something similar. But when it came to Glow, Tammy and I knew the story prior to that, so as soon as she said medium, we were like, oh no, like waterworks are coming. Like, it was so hard because Glow, it really is such a nice person. She's a good person. She really is. And you don't wish these things upon anybody, but especially to her, you're like, why? And then the week kind of goes on, and it's not until like day 2 or 3, Smiley comes and she's crying, and I was like, baby, what now? Like, we've been crying for 2 days. Like, what? She's like, Mina lost her brother. And I was like, no, she has a brother. She has a younger brother. She's like, no, mommy, he passed in a car accident. And I was like, what? And you see in the scene how like the kids find out. Like, Mina just said it out of nowhere. And we were all, what? And Min was very, very reluctant to talk about it. Obviously, we all respected her space, and you can kind of see her that she actually talks about it in her interview by herself. She never truly opened up to us and, said all those things, and I don't blame her. I found that whole week to be so heavy. And once we saw those dancers on that stage with all those emotions, everybody had something they had channeled to. Like I said, for Smiley, it was her grandfather. Before she went on stage, I was like, do it for Grampy, and she was like, I will. And every single kid went out there and poured every ounce of emotion they had, and they killed it. They really did kill it. It was an amazing dance. And every time, Tammy can attest to this as well, we look at Glow like, how are you going to top that one? Like, that was your best one yet.
So Audrey sees a different side of Glow because she knows her from family. Has Glow made an effort to let the kids see the softer side of her?
Are you asking if the other kids besides Audrey have seen a softer side of Glow?
Yes, because she has a different relationship. So like Audrey can go in and be like, yeah, she's a hard ass here, but I know what a lovely person she is. Have the other kids had the opportunity to get to know her and see her in a bigger social space than just the dance room?
Yeah, well, so they've trained with her prior to the show, most of the kids, but because of Audrey and me and Glow being so close, we'll bring the kids over to the house and they get to hang out with Glow and give her hugs. Like even after we filmed one of the weeks, I brought two of the girls home with us, and she just sat on the couch with them and they gossiped and talked about boys and everything. So I do think, and Smiley gets a ton of, you can talk about that, Domenica, a ton of time around Glow. So, and Layla and Kaylee are really close. Like, we really are a family.
Yeah, I think that, it's a great example of what dance studios across America are usually like, honestly. The thing about Glow, and just to kind of like show off a little bit of how awesome she is that she is focused on the longevity of the dancer. She wants them to dance for a long time. She's not one that's like demeaning or like yells down at them and is like, no, you have to get this, you have to win today. Like, she doesn't focus on that. She's like, if you put your heart, if you get your technique, if you do all these things and you follow this formula, you're going to win. And one thing about Glow's dancers, she'll have 15 dancers, on stage competing against each other. And most of them can like really just move on those, spots crazily. Like, somebody can place 10th and place first the next week.
Right.
And we're always so shocked, but it's because all her dancers become, 10th of a point, 10th of a point, 10th of a point, 10th of a point, and that's it. Sometimes it's if the dancer woke up at 9 a.m. or woke up at 12, right, and had a much better day. So anyway, because of her teaching methods, there was times where, we get frustrated because they'll go into the private with Glow and they'll come out and they're like, the kids come out and they're like, oh my God, Miss Glow and I were talking about this, that, the third. And we're like, what do you mean? You didn't run your solo, 15 times in this private? And she's developing these relationships with them because this is based on trust, and those kids trust her. They want her to be proud of them, and they want to make sure that they're putting their best foot forward every single time. So there's two dancers that haven't been with Glow. And that was Lily, who was new this year. And they clicked immediately as well. Lily is the sweetest child I've ever met. And, and then Smiley, who had only been with Glow in group dances, had never had her for a solo before. So within that, also, we do go over to Tammy's house a lot, and Audrey will ask Smiley to come sleep over or whatever. They play pranks on Glow, or they'll go downstairs and be like, can we just hang out with you guys? We're like, no, we're talking smack. So
but Audrey, I will let you know, Audrey is a great leader with Smiley over, because she will work with her on her turns and her strength.
She does. It's so cute.
How do you balance the rest of your lives?
So my husband is a chef. So I don't ever really cook. I always say that like I'm kind of brown for no reason because I can't cook and I can't dance. And so he is my biggest support system. We don't have family here. I don't have Aunt Sue or, grandma or grandpa to help me out. And so he really does step up a lot for us if he has to take care of our other daughter, Gabby. He does it, gymnastics, meets. He's gone with her by herself because he can't go in the changing room and change her 15 times into 14 different costumes and do 6 different hair changes, right? So that one's on me. Where gymnastics, I do her hair. I'm like, bye, good luck. You have your one leotard. Call it a day. It is hard. I would drive to the studio 30 minutes. I lived really far. And so I would just go and hang out. If Smiley was dancing for 3-4 hours, we would just go and hang out with Tammy or, do some shopping, whatever, and just make it work. It's a sacrifice. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely a sacrifice. That's why my brow endeavor was so convenient, because I could just schedule clients around not my schedule, my daughter's schedules.
There you go. Tammi, how do you keep the balance? Because, did you guys move to New York during the Music Man, or did you commute?
Oh, no, Audrey and I lived in an apartment there for 9 months, and it was right across from the theater. So I mean, our life just bops and bops and bops from here to there and there to here. We were in Florida prior to that, and then we moved back. We were in Virginia, then we were in Florida, then when we were in Virginia, then we were in New York. Now we're like back in Virginia. So we don't, and that was in like a 10-month span. Audrey and I had lived in 4 states. So it was just like really chaotic. But I feel like I'm very fortunate because I don't have other children to juggle. And so my focus is 100% on Audrey. I've homeschooled her since first grade, and now she's at a point in her learning where she's like self-teaching. And so I'm actually pretty bored. I'm pretty bored right now.
Enjoy the boredom.
Yeah.
Do you though? And that's a very interesting thing you just brought up about being in all these different states and 9 months and locations. It's hard for a teenager. It's hard for a teenager. How are you managing that with her? Because it's one thing to be driven and love what you do, which she clearly does. But she's a teenage girl.
Yeah.
How are you, and you're not somewhere long enough to make friends and have a group. I mean, there's got to be days where she's just like, I want to go to the mall.
Yeah, so I've always, because of her being homeschooled, the social aspect has always been a challenge. I've always been the parent who's proactively texting the other moms. Parties, everything is always at my house because I'm very, very proactive about making sure she has social opportunities. So when we were in New York for Music Man, she had a built-in 7 friends, and it was so amazing for her to have
The other kids in the cast.
the other kids in the cast, that group. I mean, we were together 24/7, and I keep in touch with the moms. She keeps in touch with the kids. Sure, that's different because they live far away. But then last year, and I know this is complicated, last year I did put her in public school for half of the year, and then I ended up pulling her back to homeschool. But she made a really tight group of kids at the beginning of the school year. So she's going to the town center with them. They go to the library the teen center and the library. Like her 2 friends slept over last night. So I'm with you on that. I am so happy that she has this set group of friends because it's hard being homeschooled.
It's hard being homeschooled, and it's hard being a teenage girl.
Well, yes, it is.
I would like to add though, like I've never seen something a child like Audrey is. She will sometimes text me because Tammy will be like, "Can you ask Domenica if she can take you, today, whatever?" And I'm usually late. Audrey can never be late. She hates being late. She is like, I need to be at the dance. I'm like, hey, sweetie, like I know if you want to go, but Smiley doesn't have to be there or Smiley has to be there at 3 and you don't got to be there till 4:30. She's like, I'll go with you at 3. I'd rather be early. And she'll just, right? Like it really is admirable from that standpoint.
Oh my God. So many people in my life would be happy if I was like that.
Me too. Especially my husband,
I'm always on time, and I get very frustrated with these guys. I get so angry because they'll be like, we need to be ready at 3:00, and I am down here. Through the winter, I was scooping the snow off the car, waiting for everyone to come 15 minutes late. This was a challenge.
Yeah. My dad used to say, if you're on time, you're late.
Yep.
Yes, that's what we say. If you're on time, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. That's our thing, yeah.
I'm just always late.
I did not inherit that gene. I generally run about 10 late, but I always call and say I'm on my way, which, I try and do that anyway.
Yeah.
So I know you can't give a lot away. Hint to us what the juiciest thing that's going to happen is.
I feel like, okay, my opinion was already aired when Domenica and Roxy had an altercation. That they've been playing that like on repeat, so I feel like that's super juicy. Can you think of like what else? There was so much juicy stuff. Don't get me wrong.
There's so much. There really is. I mean, I don't think how we can like pinpoint to one thing, because it really did. It is kind of crazy because you think that these shows are produced, right? Like I would watch the Kardashians, and I'm like, there's no way that this man who is married or having a baby with this famous Khloe Kardashian goes and like screws or kisses like that friend. Like how you think that there's no way that's real? Like how is that real?
Oh yeah, it is.
Same thing with us. I was like every week we would show up and we're like, what the hell is wrong with everybody? Like Like, how are we like? We kept saying you can't make this up. Like, even if you tried to write a script, you wouldn't be able to. You know, a really hard. I mean, I can tell you that I am feisty. I am loud. I am constantly standing up for Smiley. And I really couldn't have done it without Tammi as, like, you know, by my side, because it just, there's one point where Smiley faces off against another teammate. And, you know, they asked us, like, so who do you think is going to win? Right. And who do you think is going to, I mean, I'm always going to go for my kid, but I was nervous. Right. I was so nervous. And, poor Tammi, I was like, she's like, yep, Smiley. And they're like, what? You think Smiley's gonna win? She's like,
but my
yep.
loyalty goes till the end. If you are my loyal friend, I will defend you till the death. So
yes. And same here.
I am having such a good time watching it. Dance Moms, a new era. I don't know why that's so hard for me to say. Dance Moms, a new era. All episodes now on Hulu. Thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you, Melissa. We had a great time. This was awesome.
An honor to be on your podcast.
Oh, well, I am having so much fun watching the show.